I know we got a few newer people on the cast. Kirby, you're newer. So the first thing I like to point out for newer folk is different types of value. There's three main types that I kind of focus on, and so do consumers, buyers, and sellers. So appraisal value, market value, and assessed value. Do you want to take a crack at that, Kirby? What the difference in those three are?
Well, an appraisal is like a formal appraisal, right?
Right?
Market value is what buyer and seller would agree on.
Yep.
Assessed value. Is that similar to appraisal?
Kind of, but it's more so like what the local municipality wants to tax you on. So
Okay,
that's
so
kind of
tax.
assessed value.
Oh, yeah,
Property.
tax for,
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. So appraisal value is a formal approach to determine value, usually ordered by a bank or a property owner to get an idea of what their property's worth. The reason I like to point that out is because sometimes you meet with the seller and they'll tell you, well, I've already got my property appraised and
Yeah.
appraised for this amount. Well, the funny thing about appraisals, it really depends on what the reason you're getting the appraisal for. So for the seller's sake, sometimes, like I said, they get that appraisal to get an idea of what their property is worth in consideration of selling it. Sometimes they get that to tap into some of their equity to borrow from the bank on. So usually the bank gives them the benefit of the doubt in this situation because they're in the business of wanting to win money because that's how a bank operates. So sometimes that appraisal can come back a little advantageous. Now, while that's fine and dandy, it could be an indication of market value. Market value is really what a buyer is willing to pay for a property. And what a seller is willing to accept for that property. And then assessed value is usually the lesser of those three amounts, because that's what the local city, county are gonna tax you on. Questions, Ron? With you. Perfect. So appraisal value, the funny thing about that is when a buyer is purchasing a home with a mortgage, the bank's gonna send out the appraiser, and that's kind of the bank's peace of mind. That's to help them assess the risk involved, because the bank's gonna loan X amount towards the value. That's the loan to value ratio. What we see oftentimes, funny enough, is that appraisal value comes in about $100 to $1,000 above the purchase price. Now, occasionally you'll see that come in less, which means you've got a gap there. And there's a few options that you have depending on who you represent, but the seller always has an option to appeal the appraisal anytime it comes in short of the purchase price. So it's just kind of funny how those appraisals work, because it's all discretion, and what I'm gonna do today is a similar approach to an appraiser, only less formal and less detailed. So an appraiser usually find some comps in the neighborhood that are similar to the subject property that you're trying to determine value for, and then they figure out, what everything's worth, from bedrooms, bathrooms, garage, above grade square footage, below grade square footage, and features like deck, porch, stuff like that. So we'll get into more of that. You look at these two properties that we have as an example today. So the first thing I do, man, this looks a little bit different. First thing I do is I go to my Flex MLS page, get logged in here. Okay. This is. Okay. So the first thing I do is I look up the subject property. I'll start with Spring Hill Drive. So I click on address search at the top. Now, if you don't have that in your top ribbon, go to menu, and under the search bar here, you got several different types of searches you can do. And if you want to add any of this stuff to your ribbon up here, you find yourself using that on a routine basis, on a daily basis especially, just go ahead and click that star.
Yeah.
And it'll hand up there. So address search, I type in 305, and I'm not gonna be too specific with the street name to allow for agent error. But what I'm hoping to do with this address search is find all the MLS records pertaining to this address. So if it's ever been listed on the market, it'll come up with this address search. So I just do 305 gal, goes Lexington. Search. This would be a perfect example. Because it doesn't appear it's ever been listed on the MLS.
Is it Winchester?
Uh,
Cause one came up for.
well, I said I was gonna do Springfield and then I did got Haiti, didn't I?
Yeah,
My bad. 483. Spring. So it's been listed once. Looks like we've got a 4-bed, 1.5 bath. House with 2,123 square foot finished. Close to 1,600 of that is above grade. And 540 of that is below grade. Reason I point that out, because typically your above grade square footage is more valuable than your below grade square footage. Appraisers sometimes have told me in the past, rule of thumb, below grade square footage is about 25% of the above grade square footage. So you can either take the above grade rate per square foot, multiply that by 25%, and then apply that to your below grade square footage, or you can take a quarter of the below grade square footage, and we'll toy around with that in a second. So first things first, so I'm gonna walk you through how I do it. I get comfortable with the subject property first and foremost. So I write that down, got like a little word pad on my computer that I just jot that down. That way I don't overlook any of the specs.
right.
And then I can focus better on finding the comparable cells.
If something isn't accurate, how would that be changed?
Give me an example.
The bathrooms,
Alright,
it's 2.5.
it's 2.5. Okay. I'm gonna write down what this says first. Range on the basement. Your bill. 1950. While that's important, that also kind of helps me find variables, because usually neighborhoods are kind of built around the same time. So if I find a bunch in a pocket that are 1950-ish, and then I find some that are 1980-ish, chances are that's a different neighborhood.
Right.
Now, I may include those depending on if there's a significant discrepancy between what they're bringing, but just something helps me kind of distinguish big pumps from bad pumps. So make that the above grade and below grade, so 1,583. Above and 540 below. So it sounds like they may have finished the rest of that basement out.
Yeah, part of it's finished.
Okay. So one thing to kind of check, usually you'll see several different MLS records here, and I can check for like discrepancies in the finished area, the bathrooms, things like that. But in this situation where there's only one record, I'll just check that against the PDA.
Right.
So if you didn't see where I clicked there, a lot of times you just click the tax ID. It's linked to the PDA record. We all have access to this through our MLS membership, so be sure you get logged in there and sign up.
So is this like the assessed?
This is where you'll find assessed value for most properties in Fayette County and surrounding counties. Now, the more rural out you go, the less information you're gonna start to see on some of these PDA websites. So just be aware of that, even if you have a membership, like I went as far out where we didn't have membership to a specific PBA in that area. I purchased access to it and they still didn't have the information that I needed. It's more like you gotta go to the courthouse and pull that info.
That's neat.
Yeah, shut the front door real estate like that.
That's my boyfriend's mom's.
So this has got 298 full basement, 1083 below. I'm just gonna take your word for it. Sounds like you're familiar with the property, so it's got at least 2 full, 1/2. Cool. But the square footage is still around about the same there. Got it. So I'm gonna pin that PVA window. That way, if I need to come back and find some other comps in case there's not enough in the MLS, I'll be able to do that. What I'll do there, just in case we don't have to come back, is I'll put that view map. But also I'll check right here, it says comparable sale list. Some of those may be comparable, some may have sold 2 or 3 years ago, so it's not forgotten. I like to use the map because it's a little more interactive, insightful. If I zoom out a little bit here. And as long as you have yearly sales checked under the layers, you go to legend, you can see what colors indicate the year that it sold. So I can find all the pink ones that's this year, and if I can't find enough pink ones that match the subject property, I'll look at purple ones because that's 2024. So an appraiser usually tries to go back 6 months to find solid comparables. If they can't find enough within that time frame, they're allowed to go back for a full year, an additional 6 months. Going back to my flex window.
Dustin, where's the color chart so you know which year on the map each one's sold? Is that on there? Legend.
Yeah, so say it,
So like when you're on the map, you know the pink ones are 2025. Where's the like code where it tells you that?
oh, the legend, you see that there?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Alright, so. Now that we've got that. We'll pin that there, move back to. My main flex window, I'm gonna do a quick search. Here, I'm gonna locate the subject property using that red thumbtack in the bottom right corner, it says locate address. Unlike that address search that I did initially, I'm gonna be more thorough with the full address here. Which is 483 Springfield Drive. Lexington, Kentucky. What was it?
4050.
Okay, that looks right from the PVA map. That's the one. And make sure you put use this location, otherwise. That thumbtack will move around. So we're gonna find it again, just click it in the bottom right corner, locate. Click use this location, close. I can kind of zoom out and see what area it's in. If you're not familiar with neighborhoods, that's no big deal, because what I'm gonna do is apply the same thing that Brady does. They don't like to go over major roadways, major waterways, anything like that. That would kind of break up an area, so I'm just gonna draw this polygon around those gray lines, which are the, yes, quote unquote major roads. You got Nicholasville Road here, or actually that's Harrisburg Road and Nicholasville Road. So I'm gonna draw that in between that, those 2 major roads. and then Waller and Rosemont. So right above the red thumbtack, click draw polygon. Then you're gonna click each time, just once, and then when you're finished, double click so that it stops drawing. If I messed up. It's a little sensitive. So make sure you don't move your mouse when you double click. Looks like there's 3 active. Now I'm gonna click status. You go active, consume, pending, contingent, closed. As you can see, if I click each of those without holding anything in, just selects one of them, right? So if you're holding control, you'll select multiple. Here's your quick trick. If you click the top, you hold in control shift, go down to close, we'll select all this. Just a little shortcut. So we've got 27, and this is a single family, so I'm gonna go ahead and indicate that in the property subtype. Now I'm constantly watching view results to see as I add these filters in, if it eliminates a vast majority of them. Because sometimes that'll kind of give you an idea of the neighborhood characteristics. So we've got a healthy amount here, 22. Not a whole lot, right around that red thumbtack, so just to check. I'm gonna go back the full 12 months, 35, it didn't get too out of control still, it's not really advanced around that thumbtack, but I think they're close enough. I think that the subject property is a little isolated based on the map. It's one of what, 5, that one block. What is that, a school?
Yeah, Lafayette.
That's a good area. So I'll keep the 12-month time frame on there. And then I'm gonna go to my list to look at the results. Now, there's a lot of ways, I'm gonna go back for a second, there's a lot of ways that you can structure this search. I like the polygon. Some people will use the subdivision, so subdivision on this one, go back to the subject, it's Lafayette. Only reason I don't like to do that, do my search based on subdivision, is because it requires accurate agent input. And since I've been licensed since 2017, I've noticed a lot of errors, so I don't like doing that. Now, the only time that this isn't as effective of an approach is when you're looking at new construction, because new construction isn't always located accurate. Right, Rob? Right.
How do you redo the polygon?
You can click polygon, edit. So that will allow you to edit the shape, but if you wanted to remove it altogether, scrap it, start from new, just do remove.
Okay.
Another way to do that, scroll to the top of your filters. And you just click X. So while we're on that, you can add multiple polygons to your search if you want. It's helpful when you're setting up buyer searches and they don't want to be in certain areas. Say they're considering the vast majority of Lexington minus a couple pockets. So the cool thing about this polygon is right now we're looking at things within it, but you can toggle that to look at things outside of it, not within. Gonna get a whole lot of more results that way, right? But we want to go within.
I've never done that, that's cool.
Yeah. I've been doing that with some buyer searches lately.
God, cause I've tried to go around and like get all Lexington without,
With that, but yeah, you try to do it the opposite way. Yeah, this is a little bit quicker. Something else, a lot of people don't realize is a pretty good feature here. You can do county and zip code this way. So instead of typing them all in, you can find them via the map. And all you have to do is click. And you just return search. I like to use that with the county feature if I'm looking at unique properties in more rural areas. Because you're not gonna see a lot of compared with sales, if it's like a 5,000 square foot home on 10 acres in Mount Sterling, right? So I might take from the tri-county area in that sense. You remove that, there's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but some good features to be aware of. So as you can see, that overlay kind of stuck with the zip codes. Want to get rid of that, just come over to overlays and remove that. All right, going back to my results. What I like to do first and foremost is scroll all the way over here. On my column that says sold price per square foot. I'm gonna sort that. Ascending. So that's gonna put all the closed properties from the lowest sold price per square foot to the highest. Now, you may not have that column. I've added these over the years, to what helps me. Do the CMA as effectively as possible in determining value. And so I've added columns to help me do that, as well as columns that, will add or subtract value. For instance, if it's got a basement, how much of the basement's finished? If it's got a garage, if it's got a primary on the first floor, just know the primary on the first floor field. Also, one of those that agents miss often, because they'll list the one-story home. They won't check that primary on the main level, box for whatever reason, but it has to be on the main level, right? I get it if it's not a true primary, but I would still select it so that people's searches don't miss your listing that you're putting in the system, right?
How do you add columns?
You would go to view. And here's a list of all the available fields. When you double click or you just click one and you add. It usually adds it to the bottom here. I just had enough. And then from here, you can sort them how you want. I'm gonna delete that, I've already got that on there. Now, if you like my layout, I'll share that. Go ahead and share that now. So click into the menu. I'm gonna go to my views. You'll have to do the same to find it and save it to yours once I share it. So detail 2.0. Give to someone. And give it to everyone in the office here. Won't be able to do it that way. Oh, there you are. Right? Yeah. That was quick.
You mean to click on?
No, Chris, I don't know if I've shared it with you before or not, but
I don't know either. I don't
probably
see
you
it.
had it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Alright, so
Yours is the detailed two.
yeah,
Yeah.
detail 2.0. So now you all have to go to flex menu. Preferences, my views. And then you go find the one that says detail 2.0. Have you found it?
Yeah.
Are you looking for it, Krista?
I'm looking for it. I see, I'm under general preferences. Is that what I'm supposed to be under?
You can just go to your,
Go to my views.
any list and you can talk.
I think you gotta save it first.
I don't see my views.
So what
Is
you got?
that in the menu?
Yeah, it should be.
My views.
There.
Detail 2.0, okay.
Now click edit. You just click save, top right corner.
Thank you.
You bet. Now, when you're looking at a list of properties. Over here in the top right corner, next to the view button. Got a drop down, and that will allow you to toggle between your different views, so make sure you've got that detail 2.0 in that view. Does everybody have that?
How do I get back to that?
Did you do all that through a different tab or?
Sorry, man.
Probably, yeah, that's why I open so many tabs,
Yeah, I was on one tab, so that's why I lost it.
no worries. I'll go back to my edit search, that way you can get caught up with this. Red thumb tag.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kristen?
I'm putting it all in again.
Perfect. So I go red thumb tag, polygon, statuses, properties up top.
Polygons don't wanna stay. You ever have trouble with that?
On the last, like when you're trying to end it, just double click. That usually be like your flow system.
For status, you did active, coming soon, pending, contingent, and closed, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Y'all good?
Yes. And then just property subtype, single family, is there anything else that you selected on the left?
On the left now, sold day, I went to 366 days. So if you don't have days, these little arrows, I forget. You can change date type. So you can go to like a time frame. Where you go to certain amount of days, weeks, months back. So if you wanna go months, you can put the days, it goes months back. Years back. So no weeks, days, months, years. You good, Kristen?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, so going back to my list, I've sorted those based on the sold price per square foot. I haven't yet, so. Hey, Cindy. You were both able to select the view from the drop down.
How did you sort it?
Go find the column that says sold price per square foot, sorted ascending. So what I do here is I kind of follow that column down to see where there's big price breaks or price jumps. And try to figure out if there's a trend there. Or if it's based on area, or if it's based on, structure type. You know, if it's a ranch versus a ranch on a basement or 2-story with a basement, so forth and so on. So looks like it jumps from 134 to 148. That's the first big jump. What is that, about $14 per square foot? And then you've got another one that's about, what, $15 per square foot, then it's gradual from there until you get here. Then it is gradual from there up to. I'd say this one could be an outlier at the very top. It's $300 a square foot over there, wow. So again, a couple things here, I'm looking at the top, these all appear to be 1-story ranches, much smaller square foot, so. Your 1-stories tend to sell at a higher rate per square foot because of your wider audience there. It costs a little more because of the footprint of that house too, so. It fills more people, it's usually a more competitive, type of house, so it drives that price up. Versus a 2-story home with 2,400 square foot, then when you add a basement in there and it's 3,000 square foot, well, that rate per square foot is gonna be significantly less than just a 1-story home where all your finished area is above grade. So those most likely will come off, because these don't have basements. And if I go to the bottom, I imagine you're gonna see a lot of the basement listings towards the bottom of that price per square foot. Is that what y'all are seeing as well?
You said at the bottom.
What's that?
You said at the bottom?
Well, I shouldn't say the bottom, at the top, I guess, at the top of the list. That's kind of the bottom.
I'm still getting used to this view, but yeah, I do have more basements at the bottom.
Or some of these, while it doesn't appear the half finished area below grade, I imagine. You put in there, that's a 2,600 square foot house. There is a basement, however, there's no finished area indicated below grade. I imagine that's just error on the agent's input. How do you double check that? The pictures usually will tell you. So that's going upstairs. There's the basement, nope, not finished. So they're right, so this is actually a big shell. It's 2,600 above grade. Not a good comp because it's got 1.5 stories and an unfinished basement. So I wouldn't use that one. Couple ways you can approach this. I know when I was newer, I would select all those. Granted, there's only 35, you know, if there's 40, 50, 60, I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna look for ways to add more filters in my search to kind of eliminate the bulk. I just don't like to use a lot of filters initially because the agent error inputs. Because if I do 1-story and there's a 1.5 story that would be comparable and an agent's got it listed as 2 stories, well, it's not gonna hit my search here. So we looked at the sale price per square foot, to look for trends in structure type, you know, 1-story, 2-story, those with basements and whatnot. Another thing I use this sort for is to see if there's any trend with the area. So I go to my map and I'm just gonna click through these closed to see where they bounce back and forth to. So it doesn't look, or it doesn't appear to have any trend specific to the area. This pocket pretty uniform in value. Now that's based on a pretty general search, so keep that in mind. Because I do know Cherokee Park, Seven Parks tend to, they have different different homes there, right? Different characteristics, older, and usually sell for more. Now, rate per square foot, maybe not. However, this house, Cherokee Park, 905,000 is at the top of the list. That's a large home.
Yeah, I would say a lot of those might be bigger.
Yeah. So since this house has 2,000 square foot or more, and it's got another 500 square foot below grade that could be finished, I'm gonna cap that out at 2,800 square feet on my search. And that's on the max. Now on the minimum, the first floor is 1,500, almost 1,600 square foot, so I'm gonna cap that at 1,400. So that's gonna shave a lot of those at the top end, price per square foot off my search.
What was your max?
2,800. So I went from what, 35 to 21?
Wait, so say that again, so you just based the low end off the first floor square footage?
Yeah. That way,
Just because you're gonna be competing against a higher rate per square foot from the ranches and that.
yeah, a lot of the 1,200 square foot homes and stuff like that, plus. I don't wanna weed out, I wanna weed those out that are just, 1,000 square foot. I think I saw one or two on there that was even less than 1,000. But I also would catch any that have like 1,400 square foot,
Or could be on an unfinished bed.
could be on an unfinished basement, correct?
Can I jump to a kind of random question about this?
Sure.
So I think on that Spring Hill Drive, most of those homes are gonna be walkout basements. I believe there's a creek behind that street.
Where you go?
It's on a spring, but. They're not walking out.
They're not. Would they? I mean, I was just thinking about like flood insurance back there.
That's a good question. So,
Is that,
do you
take
ever,
that into account into anything?
have a concern about that? The roof source?
Email map.
Yep. Give them a flip map. So if you go to map service center. Type in the address. This will tell you all you need to know. It's close, no cigar.
Nice.
Now, should they be accounted for in terms of the comp? Sure, absolutely. So I'll keep that window up. Because of course, flood insurance can make financing a little more challenging, a little more expensive.
Right, well, the reason I asked is because I have that one over on the. Main Street now, but. My buyer almost offered on it, but it was absurd. The payment for flood insurance.
Yeah.
It's changed like everything.
How much was it for them?
I can't remember. It was like bad on that one. It's off of Lafayette Park, kind of.
Well, that's quote I heard for flood insurance yearly was like an extra 1,700. Yearly? Yeah.
Hey, yeah, yes,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think they're shopping at the top, back it on.
Right.
So we're down to 21 now. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just curious.
No, you're good. So it should still be sorted. More manageable set. Most of these 3.5 basements, so that's good. So starting with the bottom. But it's like all these. My goal is to try to find 15 solid comparables. Now, an appraiser is only gonna look for 5, 3 to 5. I'll try to find 15 in a healthy market, that's easy, but in a market like we've had, really since 2017, it's a little more challenging. To find 5 active, 5 pending, 5 sold. Reason I like that approach is the 5 closed, I'm gonna put the most emphasis on, because that's what we know more facts about. We know what they were asking when it went to market. How long it took them to get a contract, days on market, what they were asking when they received that contract, and we know what they sold for. Pending properties, we only know what they were asking when they got that contract, and how long it took to get that contract. Then active, that's your active competition, right? So you gotta consider them if you're consider putting that house on the market. So I'm looking at price per square foot, days on market of the active, pending, closed, see if there's any kind of trends there, if things are taking a little bit longer to sell, or if sellers are just asking too much. Price.
Right. How did you sort, your search here? 'Cause I feel like. Oh, never mind, mine's the same.
So price per square foot,
Yeah, so I did that earlier and it looked different, but I think we're good.
sometimes it will like revert back to the default score,
Yeah,
which is status change date. Make sure mom's fine, you can assume. So first things first, I'm looking to eliminate any outliers. 130 a square foot to 148, that's a pretty big jump, $18 per square foot. Chances are it needed a lot of work. But sometimes you'll find there's no rhyme or reason. This one appears to be in good shape. It's got some updates there. It's got a finished basement. It is 2-story. See how much finished below. 952. So that's about 400 square foot below grade more than the subject, so I'll probably exclude that. So exclude that by deselecting it. That's the right one.
we're looking at Bottle Lake.
I don't know which one I was looking at. Okay, now I'm looking at bottom leaf. Bottom leaf looks like it could use some love. Whoa.
Oh, scary.
Yeah, so I think we can agree, there's a reason it's at the bottom end of the price per square foot. So we'll eliminate that one as well. Make sure Clay's Mill is the one I wanted to also eliminate, it is. And we'll move into 296 Lafayette, we already deemed that was a bad one as well, because it had more total square foot above grade than the subject has in total, or could have in total. See where we are on the list here. Dansler. 64 square foot, it is 3 bed, 2 full bath. 2,300 square foot home. It's 1.5 stories with 910 square foot below grade. Now there's a good chance I'll eliminate that as well. But let's check it out before I do. It's got a 2-car detached garage. Or 1 car. That is, Spring Hill have a garage? Nope.
They converted it into a.
So on a lot of the appraisals I've seen in the past 12 months. They usually indicate about $5,000 per garage or spot. So if it's a 2-car garage, it's about $10 or 10K. 1-car garage is about 5K. So in that instance, that would adjust the subject property down 5K.
Right.
If I use that one as a comp. Or an appraiser would do it that way. I'm not usually want to get in the weeds about that kind of stuff, because I'm just gonna use the flat price per square foot, but what you'll see if you ever look at an appraisal report. Their rate per square foot is gonna vary significantly from what the MLS suggests, and also what I use. I don't know how they come. About their price per square foot on there, I have no idea, not even looked into it, but it'll usually be 75 to 60% of what the MLS reads as. Because what they're doing is they're getting kind of like a base rate per square foot for a neighborhood. And then they're applying value to each of those features: bedrooms, bathrooms, above grade, below grade, garages, things of that sort.
So is this one considering that like loft upstairs to be a half story?
Yeah.
Spring Hill has that too.
Oh, does it?
I just don't think it's accurate, yeah.
So. You can find the requirements, I think it's ANSI, ANSI. Or what that stands for, but they have like all the kind of code requirements or specs to determine finished area or livable square footage.
Yeah.
And for area spaces like this, I think it's 6 foot in height.
Oh.
So that's what they would consider as livable square footage. So for instance, if this part to this part is 6 foot, then they would take this area here as the finished. And they would exclude everything from this over to the wall. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Flex has a really good class on that too. Yeah, they have an appraiser teacher who's been in appraising for like 50 years.
Who was that now? Or
Woodrow Wilson, I think, is the guy who teaches it. Have you ever taken that one? Yeah, it's at Flex.
oh,
They do it only like twice a year. I just took it for the first time like 6 months ago.
okay.
It was really good.
Yeah, I would encourage to take any class that an appraiser teaches.
Yeah, cause he talks about all those little nuances
Yeah.
and what you do with staircases and crazy things like that for square footage.
Where's Flex?
At Bluegrass Realtors, I mean, not Flex.
I knew what you meant.
RMLS,
Yeah,
place,
it's like
whatever it's called now, like,
Elbar.
it changed from Elbar, I never can remember their name.
I don't know, or-
Yeah, I call them just whatever comes to mind first.
So I'm gonna take that one off, the ancillary, I'm gonna take off. How do you say that, Joan? Rob, your looks telling me.
I don't know where that street is over there.
Broadway, that's the one we like seeing.
For what? Where they-
For, like, what are the ones that people go to that location?
I mean. For like elementary, there's so many now.
Oh, are there so many good ones?
I mean, I'm like. I grew up near like Glendover, I think it's great, and Castley, and
Right, here's the one,
I
Rob.
think Claysville or Picadillo are pretty good.
Okay.
But that's like side of town, I'm used to, I'm not, there's a bunch. of
Yeah, that's
elementary
kind of
schools.
really.
That's the one.
That was the one, and so what happened with this is. It's kind of funky if you look at it, but it was kind of cool considering what else my client was looking at in that price range.
Yeah.
But so next to it is this vacant lot. And the city bought it. And. We didn't really know why. And we ended up talking to a friend of ours that works in like the water restoration world with like streams and stuff. He said that that land was flooded so many times, and said he just bought the house next to it, tore it down and made it like a. Flex site for the city to work on,
Really?
Yeah, the neighborhood's on a spring, so.
and this one, what's this street?
South.
South Bend, yes, this has got the, I don't even know what spring is, it's got the waterway running in the middle. And so like, yeah, we talked to these guys and they were like, do not buy that house.
It's like underground
Like it
water.
will flood.
So,
Okay.
like, a month ago. Your basement sometimes.
So like if you had a spring out in the country, and you didn't have city water, you could tap into that spring
Yeah,
and use that as water in your home. But then,
So just with like a bunch of rain, it would rise in the ground.
it's saturate the ground probably pretty
yeah,
significantly.
our basement does.
Huh.
It's not great.
So bottling, I like it, the only thing based on what I know about this one. And then this one looks like a two-story, but I'm gonna stop right here, I'm gonna go back to my list to see where that is price per square foot wise, cause we know. It was on the market a minute, obviously, it was hindered with
Someone bought that.
with some stuff, um. So that's at 190, and then you jump another $11 to the one I also want to exclude. And then it's another, what, $17 jump, so that's probably where we're gonna start the actual comps. Based off what we know about some of these. Now, obviously, if you didn't know that about that property, I'd leave that on there. Cause all that's gonna do is establish kind of a bottom price. But that was quirky, I mean, even on the inside. Mine saw the stuff from the outside. We get force part real quick. It's just a different style. Sorry, going real fast. Taking it off. Spring Hill. It's a big strong wrench. What'd you say about this one?
It's huge.
Yeah. No bed, yep, there's basement. Okay. Stay right here. Go real quick. 3 bed, 2 full bath. It's got 275 below grade, which makes the above grade 1700, pretty close to the subject. Even though it's a little more on that first floor, that's okay. We'll leave it, let's look at this one real quick. I already forgot what the subject was. There we go. Wow. Yeah. Take that long.
Yeah.
See where it's located, in comparison to the subject, right around the corner shuts.
Yeah, McCubbin's my favorite street.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice ones on
That one's pretty cool. I am, so you said that one.
it.
And feel good about this one. Is there a basement? Please got it. Yes, basement partial. So that's perfect minus the stone. I'm gonna use it, wood bond. So this. Has he only so wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks good. You really good with the pigs. This is, yeah,
Yeah, that one looks cool, that little.
yeah, this was a garage converted.
Or what was that?
This used to be a garage.
That was just, they had the office upstairs.
Yeah, they had like a little lot
Right there. Didn't they like want it to be a primary and it didn't work out that way or something?
something like that. See what Danny's gonna be working on for you. You're making me work today, Kirby.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's 1400, does have a basement, unfinished.
Now, how are we gonna find 15?
What's that?
How are we gonna find 15?
Oh, yeah, we won't, we will not, I mean. We'll probably have a better chance of finding, 10 closed before we would 5 active and 5 pending, but we'll get close. Definitely, and as long as you have 5 closed, you're good. See where this is. 2,000 square foot above grade, take that off. This one's an Arcadia Park, those are different. Taking that off, Rosemont Garden. To get all this done.
That's real nice.
All right,
I like the, we got some potential with that basement, honestly.
that's the upstairs, that's the basement. There's more extra stuff there. Definitely gonna use this one because it's on South End, it looks like a ranch. Yes, no basement. Okay. South End. I'll leave Spring Hill on there because it's active and this one as well. Oh, this is a duplex. They get in there. I won't do that on there. Well, we got 6. I don't even like that one. What is our price per square foot range? $218 to $283. Nice.
Pretty big range.
Yeah. When was this from? 2020.
Yeah.
So there's been a half bath converted. Anything else done?
She added a bathroom in the basement.
Added a bathroom in the basement. Yeah, that's a half or a full.
It's a full one in the basement. But
I don't even see a picture of the half thing here. Oh, there it is.
yeah, it's that.
So is that in like the
It's in
primary
Yeah, I guess.
sense?
We consider the carpeted room to be the primary, but there's no like bathroom.
This one?
Yeah.
How tall is that up there? Can you stand up?
Yeah, the middle part is taller than me, but
It just,
I'd say 6 feet.
these photos are tough.
Mhm.
You know, they give us some whole lot of work with you. That used to be a garage right there.
Yeah, so they converted the carpeted room. Used to be a garage.
So it used to be a 2 bed. Or no, 3 bed, so it's a 4 bed, got it. Let's see. What we come up with here, let's just pretend for a moment, these are perfect comparables.
So which ones are you using?
These 6. 514 Spring Hill, 101 Ken Oak. 538 Woodbine, 216 Dansler, 509 South Bend. 419 Spring Hill. So I navigated to my selected after I did that from this. So if you go back to the results, you see all the ones that I went through. And then went to my selected, get rid of all the extra. And then from here, I felt really confident. I click CMA, you selected. Even if I don't feel confident, like this is gonna give me a direction to go, because if I come up with something crazy after I run these numbers, it's gonna give me an idea of where I need to go with the comps. So I usually do stat CMA, use my selected. Click individual info. And as you can see, you can use that same view there. I build another one because I like to see, if I'm listing a house, I like to see of the comps, how many pay closing costs. Because that's gonna allow me to set expectations with my seller, like, hey, here's the pricing that I think your home's gonna sell within this range. Now, based on the comparable sales over the past 12 months, 50% of them paid an average of 6,000 towards buyer closing costs, and I'll show you how I got there. Click median calculation, and then I click view. So this is the stat summary. This is just kind of like the numbers from my cheat sheet when I'm at that appointment. Also it helps me figure out the numbers. So as we were talking about earlier, having active, pending, and closed, this is where I like to look at those, because they're stacked up here in the table. So we don't have any pending, that's okay. So of the 5 that have closed, they sold anywhere from 335 up to 466. Sell price to list price ratio, on average, they're getting about 97% of what they're asking. Now, 2 years ago, it was probably 100 or 103% on average. So that's a good indication that the market is stabilizing. On average, those homes, those 5 that have closed are right around 1,600 square foot, as small as 1,400, and as large as 2,035 square feet. And sold price per square foot, anywhere from 218 to 283, with an average of 238, the median of 229. Days on market, they're selling as quick as the first day and within 40 days. So the average being 11 for right around 2 weeks, tells me that if we go to the market today, we should expect a contract within a 2 weeks time frame. If we don't have a contract within that time frame, chances are we're 5 to 10% overpriced. And you know, based on the traffic we have, the feedback we receive from that, will help us, you know, determine if we need to make 5 or 10% adjustment. So Rob, you got your calculator out? Might help you with these numbers. On there. So. Let's pretend for a second, for the sake of the class, that. It's a 2-story house. So this is the approach I would use for that. What's that? What's the full? The full? 2,123 square foot. You're gonna multiply that by 218. 463. 463? Yeah. 465. Alright. Let's use the median, since the average is a little high there, so 229. 21, 23, that's the square feet.
Yeah, 486.
Alright. And then the max price per square foot sold, 283. The subject square footage is 600. Yeah. So right away, and that's why I like about this, this might helps me go through this sometimes. Is right away, looking at the low, the average, and the high looks like an outlier, right? Well, we know this is a 1.5 story home on a basement, so what we actually need to do is make an adjustment for that below grade square footage. So Rob, take 1583, the above grade, and multiply it by the price per square foot that we just did, 218, 229, 283.
218 is 345. Just get 1583. Is what I'm.
Yeah, 1583.
229. What? 362. 362. Yep. Then 283. 7 and 4.
That's for the above grade. Below grade,
40 divided by 4 times those.
is that again?
You want to take that 540 and divide it by 4, then multiply by those?
Yeah, that'd be easier.
So 135 times 218, that's 30,000. 229, that's 30,000. Like what, 283. 135 plus 280, that's pretty.
540 divided by 4.
Thanks, Dustin. I gotta go do some showings.
You think so? You helpful?
Yeah, it always is. Thank you. It's good stuff. Bye. Bye.
And the 40.
Top end's 40.
Yeah. The median is 30,000, about 31,000. Is it the low, we're in the 218. Is the 29.5.
Do me a favor and use the median or the average to set the median on this one.
So 238. 32.
And do it for the above grade.
You said 32? 32. Okay, I'll try to be 30. 238. 376.
So what I would do now, Kirby, is I just add those together. 375.
I'm gonna take a picture.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to take a picture.
Absolutely. No welcome. 75, so 30, 25, 10. That's,
It is crazy that when you look at it like that, and then you see that so many agents don't account for the difference in that value, you know?
Right.
It makes such a big difference on it.
yeah.
Wait, which one did you use?
Say again.
What is? Oh. I can figure out.
Oh, yeah, upgrade. So I did the above grade square foot, multiplied by the sold price per square foot there, 218, 238, 229, 283. Then I took 25% of that basement and multiplied that by the same sold price per square foot. and have that. Now, the only thing I see that jumps out at me is 30K. The appraiser's probably gonna give a finished basement 30K in value, so he'll probably give a little more for that, so what I was gonna ask Rob to do is take half of the below grade square foot. Instead,
Right.
because there's another half that's unfinished.
Part of it is.
It's like, don't we say it costs 50 grand to build a basement? I mean,
Rough, well,
Depending on
depending on the size of the house, it could be anywhere from 30 to that.
So you're just saying you'd like to see low grade though?
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with only half of that below grade being finished. So if you took half of 540, by those same numbers, where you come up with
Wait, so you take, wait, half of this basement's finished? So then,
now,
wouldn't you take?
the other approach to that, yeah, the other approach to that would be just take the unfinished half and add it to these numbers.
But. It's unfinished.
Right, but there's still value in unfinished basement. And since I'm not an appraiser,
Right, but I'm saying the finished below grade is where we're using a quarter of the value of above grade. So what do you
which is usually when that basement is fully finished. I don't know the rule of thumb if it's partially finished. That's why sometimes I see these CMAs and I give you the numbers and you're like, how'd you get there? Don't worry about it, send it to the, just send it to the client. But do that real quick, take half of up. Well, hey, I can go ahead and tell you what that's gonna come out to be, that's just, these numbers are gonna be double, I'm gonna feel a lot better about it. Yeah, so
Look at that, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
345 plus 60, 362 plus 60. 375 plus 70. And then 450 plus 80. Which is gonna be 405 at bottom. 60 plus 60, yeah, be 422. 375 plus 70 would be 425, about 450. And 450 plus 80 would be 530. So what numbers stand out to me here? Line this up.
I think that all of them are still alive.
So I would say. This is out. Right? I would say this is out. So I would say that house is somewhere. Between. These numbers, so. I would say a low of. 390. And again, I've not been in this house. I'm not familiar with the condition, the updates, the extra mechanical stuff like that, so I go into a listing appointment, say I was gonna meet with this owner with a wide range, and then as I'm moving through that house, getting familiar with the updates, the
Right.
age of everything, the condition. Starting at that average, and if everything's newer, more updated, I'm gonna work my way up to the high. If it needs some TLC, then I'm gonna move from that average towards the low end. What we said is 390. Average would be. Say about 430. Or 415. See here. That whole, this one right here is half, that's the square foot.
Do you feel confident about the comps?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. 514 Spring Hill. I already know that one's just way nicer. Than ours. So what would you say is the most important part of the comp, the price per square foot?
The most important part,
Yeah,
to my, the approach I use, yeah, price per square foot.
okay.
Now we can check our work. See here, 43, review, so from the MLS on the subject property, RPR, it's another product we have access to.
I like that.
Flex, aka Elmore, aka Bluegrass. So
Yeah, I was gonna say something around that.
I'm way off. And Zillow has 350 to 14.
Even that's kind of.
Yeah. So. It's the first time I've been that bad off.
I gave you a tough one.
I think it was just the
It's
comps,
a comp.
they weren't like the house, really, right? I mean,
Yeah. So if I wanted to get,
Dustin, because I mean, if you just were to look at that house, considering that area of square footage, I feel like getting above 4 is gonna be awfully challenging,
yeah,
right?
let's see. This one's 14.25. See here. We do have a basement. 50 square foot, it is, why would you? Why would you bother?
It's crazy the range of houses over there, though.
You know. Yeah, I still don't think that one's not great, so it's definitely higher than that one. I would say. Like 350 is probably the average. Low. 330,
Okay. Now the good news is, so this property started at 369.
yeah,
They had price adjustment, a healthy one, 8%, 17 days in. To 339, they got a contract within 4 days of that price adjustment.
so to 339.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it didn't, it came back to the market, probably inspections.
Yeah.
Way to check that would be.
Make sure 6 days.
Yeah, so they accepted that on the 13th, came back to the market on the 19th, 6 days later, most likely is a inspection.
Is this under the history?
Sold pretty, yeah,
Which say, Rob?
Pretty's got that one too.
Who? Oh, yeah,
She had the one on the cover
is she?
that Jack got.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I think that one on Woodbine,
Well, let me finish this thought real quick, so at 339, they got a contract.
Okay,
And it just fell apart. They were asking what, 227 a square foot, or actually higher, that's what they're asking now. That falls within. Between the low and the medium. So I feel good about that. What's 227 times 1583 drop?
360.
And then. 270. Times 227.
I say 360, then 227 times 270. 60.
420. I would.
I think the trouble with that one is that you don't know how much square footage you're counting in the upstairs
Yeah,
or in the.
it's very useful, nice.
Stories. Back on here. I will be back on here.
Shut that. No, go up 280.
What's a good range to give your seller to start out with?
Second now
A good range to give your seller, like,
for this house.
well, just in general, like, how big of a range do you usually come with? Does it depend,
I
or,
usually don't like to do more than 100K.
yeah, that's a lot.
And that's a lot. That would be more so in a situation where there's a basement, you know, I don't have a whole lot of information on how big that basement is. It's never been listed, so I keep that as wide as possible, but it really depends on the comps.
Wouldn't you say though, if you're going on a listing appointment for one in the mid threes or high threes, you're more times than not coming with like a $20,000-$30,000, yeah.
Say it again, what was the price?
Like mid threes, high threes, I mean. Where 100 grand would be like a massive difference, I'm just thinking all.
Maybe it more so depends on the comps
Yeah,
and the subject, what's known, what's not. This was built in 1950. 43. Gas basement. Grass. Don't much in this one. It's cute, but ain't that cute. Okay, now I've got 8. So this having a basement, I don't know where I failed you. So usually what I do, there's a basement finished and there's a variety of comps like we have here. I'm gonna take the ones off that have a lot of finished area below.
Okay. Glaze mill,
What was it?
1804 glaze mill. Is that even on here?
Where it went, yeah, I took it off.
Okay, yeah, that one has a lot of unfinished.
Yeah, let's do it at the bottom, 900 square foot below grade, I think, for both of them. So I'd run a quick stat CMA for the comps without finished basements or, partially finished, anything finished. The basement. You. Then go back. Select those, I might even throw in the one that had 200 square feet right there. So then you put the active just because it's all we got. Alright. This might be a little bit better. So those three close, Rob, run those numbers for me real quick.
With the 1583.
This is the one with basement.
Oh, there you go, leave those highlighted.
Yeah.
So you
So
want me to run just above grade?
just 21, 23 on those numbers, because these also have 140 basements that are finished.
314 on the low. You want me to do all four? Place 176, average 373. The. Plus. What's 64? And 348.
Yeah.
467.
Ozzy
Wait, how
Osbourne died.
462. What's that?
Sorry, that was so awful. Ozzy Osbourne just died.
No way, really?
And he just had his like final concert.
Sharon. Did he have another concert recently?
Yeah, I was on my
Full retirement tour?
I was like,
Oh,
oh,
what a crazy dude.
it was 20 years ago, he couldn't operate the remote.
And
Huh.
he should have died a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, right, he was living on borrowed time at this point.
did his son die?
Who's your son?
I don't know,
Like a long time ago, right?
that's what I thought, yeah,
Like an overdose. Or something.
yeah. He had a popular show on TV on it.
I know, what was it? I'm sitting here thinking, what did I used to watch with?
Life with the Osmonds or something.
I don't remember back when like VH1 and MTV was popping.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so without basements, let's figure that out real quick. So. Apply those to the above grade, Rob.
Just to the above grade. Would, wait. Alright, well, you got 296. Average, you got 364. Median. 360. Or 447, 150 for.
You did 1583, right?
Yeah.
Now, I got that,
Was that
270,
270?
350.
Alright, 50 on the low. Alright. Average 62. Alright, 61 on the even, alright. And 76 on the high. Alright. Is this one that you're gearing up to list?
So this would be for a friend who might leave in their future,
Nice.
but she's in Louisville, so she doesn't know anything about Lexington.
I know one of my buddy's dads lives on Spring.
Oh, really?
It's kind of just like it's one of those streets that you don't go on it unless you live on it, you know, right there behind them. Yeah.
Unless you go to that school.
Right, we used to park back there. That's where I went.
Oh, you did?
Uh,
Yeah, it's a good school, right? Like you have to
yeah.
get into it or something.
No, they have like one of those programs.
Oh,
like,
okay,
There's
like for
this,
the arts or something.
there's this engineering and they have scaffold, which is arts. But, I have not. But it's good, it's an old school, old building.
Plus, 314 plus 345 divided by 2.
314 plus 345 divided by 2.
Yeah.
Any guesses? 329.45.
30. I like that.
I like that too. That's what I have written down, actually.
And I have the average. And for the high, I might even go 380.
Looks like a picture of that.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about those.
I agree. When you wrote those ones down, like,
Yeah.
well, hi. This makes sense.
Yeah.
I like those comps better.
So that's usually what I do when I've got a property like that. Is I'll run 2 stat CMAs, one that includes the comps with basements. And then one without, and kind of combining. Cause like I said, even when I don't feel confident about those comps. I did that, and you gave me the direction to go.
I'm gonna wait some out. For the ones with basements. You are. Just taking the full square footage, yeah.
Yeah,
Without basements, you do both calculations. And it's.
it's just a guess,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make sense of it in my head, you know, I get like all. Turned around.
Now, again, we check our map there. That is within range of the RPR. And Zillow,
Oh.
little high, but
Yeah, I think Zilla's off.
within range, I feel good about that. 48, well, yeah, I don't ever trust those estimates. What's your question? Oh, yeah. So here is what I do for the consumer version, Kirby, for the CMA, it's a prettier version, I go back. We can do it from the results page. So CMA. You selected. And instead of this, that, I'm gonna go to quick. Make sure I include a cover page, map on, and price recommendation. Now, I think maybe if you select the full CMA instead of quick, it's probably gonna do all that for you. This is just by habit. So I go to cover page. Type in the person's name, so I'll just use yours, Kirby. Then the subject property, so if there is an MLS record. Navigate back to that, select that MLS number, so that's kind of like the barcode for the listing.
Can you read that off to me? Can't read.
191. 6876.
Yep.
So I just copy that, go back to here. So auto populate fields from the existing listing. paste that number there. That's gonna pull in all that data from the previous listing, or from the listing that you use that number from. So as we know. There are 2 full baths, that's the only thing that's changed. I don't see that option in here, that's okay. What's that? Well, so it actually has what, 3 total baths?
2.5.
Yeah. So the system.
Yeah.
Can you,
Go ahead.
well, if you go back, I was gonna say, put that. Go straight up with your down there on the right, those little squares you can click in. For total mass, would that allow you to change the field of total mass?
Right here,
To the right of that, it's that little,
that just allows me to drag it.
left of that now, it's that little square you can click in. That do.
That's a price per X category, I guess. I see where that comes into play. I can do that,
What does that do?
I'll show you in a second. I'll put in baths,
Oh, is this for your adjustments?
yeah. Default,
Mm-hmm.
so that has the comps, I'm gonna skip forward to the recommendation. Because very rarely will I do individual adjustments. Now, for properties like this, I might would, because of how challenging it was to take my standard approach.
Yeah.
I like to fill these in based on the numbers we came up with. Now, you can calculate it based, have the system calculated based on the comparables. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. 30. I would be creating. Recommended might be. So I usually put average, for recommended. I think sometimes it's important to express that to the client, hey. Just know the recommended amount that I put on there is more so the average, it's not what I'm recommended as a list price or an offer price. But I'll take a similar approach to say, I had a buyer, I showed this house to them, they wanted to make an offer. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call that agent up, see if they've got any offers on the table at the moment, what's important to the seller. And then I'm gonna go back to the computer, pull some numbers so that you can get an idea of what or how much you want to offer on the property. Now, at the end of the day, it's your decision because who we're gonna be paying for it, paying for the house, living in it. You. So. Still the same things as that CMA, just more photos, more visual. People like this because it'll show you where those comparables are located that were used, the comparison to the subject. It's got the breakdown of the specs here. So yeah, you're right. So I checked those, Rob, the price per X. On the
It just
subject,
do?
and it automatically did it, yeah. Now, it most likely did it based on some numbers I had used on a previous CMA, because you can modify that. But what I like about this one is it gives you this kind of graph here, to give you an idea of where you're gonna be priced at based on these comparables. That's something, 330 to 380.
Did you download that? Like,
Yeah.
is this your login and stuff?
Yeah. You want me to print it?
That'd be great.
Make sure you print these. You wanna go landscape?
Right. There's so many columns.
Alright. Right. The only thing I would have done before I did the manual CMA, Kirby, is I would have added in all the comps. But what I just printed out most likely is the ones without basements. So let me redo that. Oh, it's, you have to. So as you can see, as long as you don't navigate back to that results tab, everything that you've been kind of buying, like it's still gonna be in the selected page, even though some of these aren't selected. Yeah, just all right, because I like. They are. So back to what we were talking about earlier, the closing costs. Looks like 41 out of the 7. Paid by closing costs.
Really?
Yeah. 1,500. Yes, I think that off for you.
So that's more common than I think then.
Less common. Well, do you think nobody paid closing costs?
Also, buyers like always pay their costs.
Oh, yeah, they always do. So these are seller paid. Closing costs on behalf of the buyer.
Right, so you're saying like. So only one seller being. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying the other way around.
No, so if that was 5 total sales, I would say, 20% of the sellers paid up to an average of 10,000 towards buyer closing costs, prepaid items.
Right.
That's just to set the expectation so that the seller's not shocked when they get, say a full price offer, but the buyer's asking for some closing costs.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know why, I've had at least 2 or 3 sellers in the past tell me, I'm not paying closing costs. Tell me more about that. What usually they end up telling me is all that matters to them is their bottom line. So if you get X. And the buyer is asking for those closing costs, does it really matter if you're paying those closing costs? No,
It's the same amount.
it's the same amount. I have to redo the full CMA. Rob wanted me to check those boxes. Just get, sorry, I didn't have all the boxes in here, so. I just wanted someone going. I don't know, I appreciate that.
Did you select recommended listing price on the cover page?
It should be on this page. Did not, good catch, yeah. Thank you.
Or it's not on the cover page, just in general?
Yeah. It's slow, yeah, we're good like that.
No.
Did you get that print?
The first one then.
Big
The
long one?
one without basements.
Yeah. Walk into that door.
Hopefully, I don't know. I think it's broken, so.
It is, yeah, and I just, I was looking down at that.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, was that helpful?
Definitely, yeah.
It'll take some time to get used to,
Yeah.
it's just practice.
And coming back for a more simple one helps, just.
Yeah,
I feel like.
we started with two oh
I mean,
one.
that's like the hardest I've ever had.
CMA 301 instead of 101, but
So it's hard with the rural.
yeah, it can be. Some of those in those more desirable pockets that there's just not a whole lot of exact comps. Now Masters the Station, shoot, we could have done 10 of those today, right? Or even Polo Club.
Those are newer houses, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of similar floor plans and actually. Yeah.
They're all very similar.
Volume. Structure type. Those basements can be tricky, especially in the older neighborhoods.
Well, they're also different.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go read about springs.
Yeah. Your research on.
last bid, Kirby, so
them.
if I had a chance of listing that property, what I would do after doing the comps, is I save that. Save that search and save the selected. As CMA 123 Main Street, that way I can revert back to it, say maybe they're not ready, but they'll be ready in a month, well, I can revisit that search.
Makes sense.
Yeah, if need new activity, but also. We utilize that search, so Emma runs our marketing and our listing stuff
Right.
for us, so she'll check that on a week-to-week basis for any updates since we hit the market. New property hit, it's active, that's new competition, or if a comparable property got a contract. We send out a weekly update to our seller saying, hey, just an update, here's activity summary for. Your property, how many showings we've had, if we had any open houses, if we had any guests, and a summary of that feedback. And here's a market update, X hit the market, here's the listings if you wanna check them out. Here's the ones that accepted a contract since we've been listed, so just keeps them informed of what's going on and lets them know that we're keeping our pulse on the market too.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Simple little hack.
I wish Flex was easier to use them.
Well, you gotta sing the system before plugs.
Really?
It's that,
Really?
right, Tony? You could even go back without it messing up your search, like on the window. It was.
Just doesn't seem like super friendly.
I would say get in there, get used to it.
Yeah.
You'll get more familiar with it. It'd be.
You're gonna need a big class too.
Yeah,
The board probably.
it can help. They got a lot of good videos on there too, like help videos, kind of getting started.
Thanks again.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Need anything at all?
Okay.
We'll be around.
Good to see you.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.